You know vibranium, right? That mythical metal from Marvel that can basically absorb any impact? Well, what if I told you there's a real-world material that's starting to make science fiction look a whole lot like science fact? In this explainer, we're going to put them head-to-head. In the Marvel universe, vibranium is the stuff of legends. It's a material so special, it just seems to break all the laws of physics. It really is the ultimate benchmark for strength and for absorbing energy. I mean, you've seen it everywhere. It's woven into Black Panther's suit. It's what makes Captain America's shield pretty much indestructible. And it's literally the foundation of Wakanda itself, powering everything from their crazy maglev trains to all their advanced weapons. It's an awesome concept for a movie, for sure. But let's get real for a minute. After seeing everything it can do on screen, you kind of have to wonder, don't you? Could a material like that actually exist in our world? Well, the short answer is nope. Vibranium is, of course, totally fictional. But this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Because in the real world, we have discovered a material with properties so unbelievable, they come shockingly close to the real thing. That material is called graphene. And according to scientists, this isn't just another discovery. We're talking about a material that has the potential to absolutely revolutionize our world. So what exactly is this stuff? Well, to put it simply, graphene is the thinnest material ever discovered. It's a two-dimensional sheet of carbon atoms that's just a single atom thick, all arranged in this perfect honeycomb pattern. And that unique structure, well, that's the secret to everything that comes next. And here's the most mind-blowing part. This revolutionary material comes from something completely unremarkable. Graphite. Yep, the same stuff that's in the tip of your pencil. So how does something that fragile become one of the strongest materials ever discovered? So let's put them head to head. Let's break down how graphene's real-world properties stack up against the fictional ideal of vibranium, one by one. Okay, let's break this down. First up, strength. Vibranium is stronger than steel. Graphene, it's about 200 times stronger. How about weight? Vibranium is super light, but a sheet of graphene big enough to cover a football field would weigh less than a gram. Now, energy. Vibranium absorbs it. Graphene does something maybe even more interesting. It redistributes it. And finally, conductivity. Let's just say both are completely off the charts. Just let that number sink in for a moment. 200 times stronger than the steel we use to build skyscrapers and bridges. It's even stronger than diamond. In fact, it is the strongest material ever measured. Period. This famous little thought experiment just illustrates its toughness perfectly. Imagine an elephant standing on a pencil, with the point resting on a single sheet of graphene, and it still wouldn't tear. It has this unbelievable tensile strength, but what's crazy is it's also incredibly flexible and stretchable. Now, here's a really key difference. Vibranium acts like a sponge, right? It just absorbs and stores energy. Graphene, on the other hand, is more like a trampoline. It takes the force of an impact and instantly spreads it out across its entire surface. In tests, it's been shown to be 10 times better than steel at stopping projectiles on an equal weight basis. So, how did we even discover this miracle material? Well, the story is almost as incredible as graphene itself, and it all started with a surprisingly low-tech tool. Back in 2010, two scientists, Andrei Geim and Konstantin Novoselov, won the Nobel Prize for this discovery. And it wasn't made in some multi-million-dollar lab. They used Scotch tape. Seriously, they just pressed tape onto a piece of graphite, peeled off a layer, folded the tape, pressed it again, and just kept repeating the process until they had isolated a single one-atom-thick sheet. That sheet was graphene. So why is something so thin so insanely strong? Well, unlike 3D materials like steel, graphene is a flat, two-dimensional sheet. That perfect hexagonal structure, that atomic honeycomb, is the source of all its power. It doesn't win by being bigger, it wins by being smarter. Now, this all sounds incredible, which leads to a pretty obvious question. If it's so amazing, why isn't my phone case made of graphene? Why aren't we driving graphene cars? Well, this is where reality hits hard. You see, in the movies, vibranium just conveniently falls from the sky in a meteor. They didn't have to make it. They just had to figure out how to use it. In our world, we have to actually manufacture graphene, and that presents a huge challenge. So here's the problem in a nutshell. Since it's only one atom thick, you need to stack millions of layers perfectly just to get something a millimeter thick. That requires an insane level of precision. Even a single tiny defect, one misaligned layer can completely ruin its properties. So maintaining that quality at an industrial scale is, for now at least, brutally difficult.
But the story doesn't end there, not at all. Scientists believe these are engineering challenges, not impossible barriers. And once we solve them, graphene could realistically shift us from the world of science fiction into a whole new reality.
And the potential applications? They're mind-blowing. Think of supercapacitors that could charge your phone in seconds, or lighter, stronger body armor for soldiers and police. And since it's one of the best electrical conductors ever found, it could also form the basis for next-generation nanotechnology and even replace the core materials we use in our infrastructure. And then there's the most ambitious idea of all, the space elevator. This was a fantastical concept for a long time, but now it's being seriously discussed again. The idea is breathtakingly simple. You drop a cable from a satellite all the way down to Earth, and then you just climb it into space. So why is this being discussed now? Because a project this massive needs a material with an absolutely incredible strength-to-weight ratio. It needs to be strong enough to not snap under its own weight, stretching thousands of miles into space. Of all the materials we know, graphene is one of the very, very few that fits the bill, at least on paper. In the end, vibranium is the perfect material, delivered ready to use from outer space. Real life is, well, it's messier. We don't get perfect materials, we find clues. And graphene is one of the most exciting clues we've ever discovered. It proves that properties we once just confined to fantasy can actually exist in the real world. So the question is no longer if we'll have a super material, but when, and what will we build with it first.